Hi, I'm Kelly Chacon. Welcome to Faculty Office Hours, and I teach in chemistry.
My name is Sarah Schock, and welcome from me too. I teach in the biology department.
My specialization is I'm a bioinorganic chemist. So that means I study metals in biology. And every time you're taking a breath right now, you're using copper to split oxygen and produce CO2. That's something that's just happening at every moment. And nobody really thinks about that. And I would say my other specialty is I'm an X-ray absorption spectroscopist. And I go to a synchrotron with my students, and we do spectroscopy on these metal centers and proteins. At Reed, what you can expect in a chemistry major would be a really solid undergraduate foundation in general chemistry, organic chemistry, inorganic, physical chemistry, and biochemistry, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we touch on the BMB interdisciplinary majors. But the cool thing is that within chemistry, I mentioned all those different various things that you'll be learning in the foundational courses, but you have the ability to focus in on any of those, both by being able to do summer research and being able to do your thesis and take additional coursework in any of those things. And we have 8 research active faculty in all fields. And the last thing is just that you don't really have to have any previous chemistry experience to do well in a chemistry major at Reed College. We assume you come in with nothing and we get you where you need to go.
Quick overview of biology. We are 12 faculty members in biology, representing a lot of the major subdisciplines, but probably not every single one since the field is so vast. Between the 12 of us, we offer 25 to 30 classes a year in various topics related to our research specialties. I'm personally a molecular evolutionist. I study evolution and genetics and genomics. The courses that we offer are categorized kind of loosely by scale, actually. So from genes and molecules to cells to organisms and to systems. And so if you're a bio major, you're asked to take courses that span the scales of biology. Every single one of the upper division courses has an independent research component that's meant to kind of get you in the weeds. And that's also to help prep you for the thesis year when you'll do a 9-month-long project of your own design. As Kelly mentioned, we have the BMB biochemistry and molecular biology joint interdisciplinary major between biology and chemistry to really focus on biochemistry and molecular biology, as the name would state. And then biology also has that same kind of bridge program with psychology. We have a neuroscience major with psychology that integrates those two departments. We're also part of the ES program, the environmental studies program, which chemistry is too. Chemistry, biology, poli-sci, history, econ, and now anthropology are all part of the environmental studies program. And so every student who majors in ES has a home department, but then also takes interdisciplinary classes with folks from those other majors. So we're really interested in supporting students in learning what it is they want to learn. But as Kelly so nicely put it, we're also really devoted to giving the broad foundation that students need for the rest of their lives.
BMB, as Sarah was talking about, is a true interdisciplinary major. A lot of our students end up heading that way. And what I think is so special about it is you're taking all of these foundational chemistry courses and foundational biology courses. It's all integrated. But then what I see happening, and probably Sarah sees this as well, is that with that wide number of courses and amounts of exposure to different subdisciplines, you start to kind of figure out what you might want to specialize in while still having this huge interdisciplinary awareness of what's out there. We really have a great relationship with Oregon Health and Sciences University. I went there for my PhD, and I can tell you that there are many students who have gone up to do summer research or also to do their thesis remotely, although there are caveats to doing that. You don't get that full Reed thesis experience, but we definitely want you to have the access you want to certain kinds of research. So I would say that that is our key way of immediately pipelining you into a teaching medical university to see cutting edge stuff that we cannot necessarily provide in terms of, like, say, animal work or things like that. In terms of what you can do here at Reed, there are a lot of different ways that you can incorporate questions or inquiries you might have into sort of health research or medical research. I know that in BMB, we often get students coming in and saying, look, I've had this idea about understanding this particular disease, or I'd like to synthesize a molecule that could somehow impact drug development later on. And so we do have opportunities like that where students work with the professor to come up with something that will address those questions.
The thesis projects, the other thing that I just wanted to say is they're incredibly wide-ranging. I could give you some examples just to maybe bookend it. I've had a student come to me and say, I am crazy about birding. I've never taken a genetics class in my life. I don't really know anything about it, but I love Papua New Guinea, and I've got a hookup on some samples. So I'd like to do a molecular genetic phylogeny of birds from Papua New Guinea. And we've done that, and that was published as a paper.
But essentially, it's two different fields of study that culminate into one thesis, luckily, but you get to take a wide variety of things in both bio and chem. So you start out with chemistry 101, bio 101, then you go into your organic chemistry and physics, then you start going into your advanced biology electives, and then we also have upper division chemistry courses that you can take. You take your junior qualifying exam, you get that out of the way, and then you start to think about your thesis.
One thing I just wanted to say is that if someone wants to be a biology major, not a BMB major, they can just be a biology major, and they can take biochemistry.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Someone could take chemistry and be a chem major, excuse me, and if you have a affinity for biology, you're welcome to take some of the upper division bio classes, because you will have taken intro bio very likely if you wanted to have that connection. So BMB and all of the requirements for that major is not a must for studying biochemistry at the class level, or for studying things that are kind of in that interface between the two fields.
Your advisor every step of the way is going to help you figure out how you can concentrate, even if it's not necessarily a minor. How can you make sure you get those music classes that you love, or if you really love film, and even though you're doing hardcore biology, like, we make sure that you fit those things in. We say, hey, this one's only offered every other year. You want to take this? I know that's really important to you. Let's make sure that you get it. So we know a well-rounded education isn't just in our two buildings. We really want you to branch out.
We have tremendous physical facilities for doing that lab work. I mean, my friends who are faculty at big state schools, we are the envy of many of my colleagues, the instrumentation and the space that we have for doing work. There's really very few things that we don't have access to. And as Kelly mentioned before, because OHSU, the big health science university, is right across the river, if there are large pieces of equipment that we need, typically you don't need those all the time. We just go across the river and use theirs. Yeah. So I've never been equipment limited at Reed, and I don't ever see that happening. When I see students their senior year saying, I'm going to do my thesis, I'm taking Chinese, even though it fills no requirements for my major, and I've decided I'm going to work on a ship after graduation because I am interested in sea life. It is so fun to be a part of someone thinking that far outside of the box. And it's really great to be a part of empowering that kind of thinking.
Everyone really is allowed to let who they are shine in their own way. And we all accept that and explore it and discuss if we're comfortable, right? But we're not afraid to have real conversations while being super kind and having all of these opportunities to share as a community. We have so many things we do to build community, both in our department and in the wider college sphere. And also for me, it's like I said, part of what makes Reed really a warm place is it's not just about the students that make the college, it's also the faculty and the staff. We're allowed to be who we are, and that was really important to me. And so as a queer Latina professor who doesn't always do things the traditional way, I felt like instead of Reed saying, well, you need to do it this way, they really welcomed me for who I was and said, how can we take who you are and bring that out to the community and, encourage others who are like you to feel that they're welcome. So I think that that's really special to me.